I used to be the person who played it safe, who avoided conflict like the plague, and who thought being smart just meant knowing the right answers. For years, I believed that building a powerful mind was about memorizing facts or being the loudest voice in the room. But the truth is, a truly dangerous mind isn't about overpowering others with information. It's about creating an inner world so solid and unpredictable that it makes people nervous without you even saying a word. If you want to build a mind like that, one that commands respect, ignites curiosity, and even makes others hesitate before challenging you, stick with me. Because everything changed when I stopped chasing the wrong kind of intelligence and started building something much deeper and more intimidating. A mind that refuses to be controlled or understood easily. The first step in this journey was recognizing how fragile my mental boundaries used to be. I used to get rattled by criticism or unexpected challenges, quickly doubting myself and rushing to defend my every thought. I thought a strong mind meant quick comebacks and certainty, but really, I was just desperate to look smart. Everything changed when I discovered that true mental power comes not from proving yourself right all the time, but from embracing uncertainty and thinking strategically before reacting. At first, I resisted this because it felt like weakness, like admitting I wasn't in control. But slowly, I started practicing the habit of pausing before responding to difficult questions or criticism. Imagine it like this: instead of firing back immediately, you're building a wall of patience and understanding, which makes your mind feel like a fortress no one can easily breach. The challenge is to start today by catching yourself before you respond in a defensive way. When someone challenges your opinion, instead of jumping to answer, just count to 3 silently. That pause makes a huge difference, and over time it trains your brain to think in layers, not impulses. The second breakthrough was realizing how toxic it was to try to control every social situation. I used to people please constantly, afraid of making waves or being disliked. But that only made my mind predictable and easy to read. The moment that changed everything was when I stopped caring so much about what others thought and started focusing on how I wanted to show up in the world. Not arrogance, but awareness. I began to observe how some of the most dangerous minds I admired didn't try to please or explain themselves endlessly. They simply held space and spoke with intention. This made others lean in, trying to figure them out. The crazy part is, I felt vulnerable and isolated at first because not everyone gets it or feels comfortable with someone who refuses to fit into expectations. But more importantly, this shift helped me build mental independence. To start this today, try saying no at least once a day to something out of obligation or social pressure. It could be as simple as declining a plan you don't want to attend or refusing to engage in gossip. That no builds mental muscle and sends a signal to yourself and others that you are not swayed by the crowd. The third and maybe most powerful discovery was about making my mind unpredictable in a positive way. What I mean is, I learned that no one should ever feel like they fully understand your thoughts or intentions, even if they think they do. I used to lay all my cards on the table, trying to be transparent and prove I had nothing to hide. But I realized that being consistently open makes you easy to manipulate or underestimate. The people who make others nervous often don't reveal everything. They drop hints, surprise with unexpected ideas, and keep their mental flexibility. The result of this was astonishing. Conversations with me became less about simple exchanges and more like mental chess games. I saw people pause, reconsider what they thought they knew about me, and sometimes even mirror my unpredictability. To implement this, start adding a little mystery to your communication. Don't feel pressured to share your full thought process or every reason behind your actions. Instead, practice saying things like, "That's an interesting question. I'll have to think about it," or "There's more to that." But it's complicated. It's subtle but creates mental space where your mind becomes more dangerous because it's hard to predict or corner. You might be thinking, "Isn't that manipulative or dishonest?" I thought that too at first. But this isn't about tricking people. It's about protecting your mental energy and establishing boundaries. The crazy part is, once you start doing this, people begin to respect you more rather than less because they realize you're not a passive book they can read from cover to cover. Another key part of building this dangerous mind was developing mental resilience, not in some abstract way, but through intentional practice of managing my emotions and failures. I used to crumble when things went wrong, or when my ideas were shot down. The moment I understood that failure isn't the enemy but a signal, everything shifted. I became less reactive and more curious about what failure was teaching me. This attitude alone makes people nervous, not because you're mean, but because you're unshakable. Imagine a warrior who falls but always rises again without flinching. That image became my mental blueprint. To practice this, start journaling about one failure or setback each day. But instead of blaming yourself, write what lesson you see in it or how it can push you to improve. This rewires your brain to treat failures as fuel, not threats. The final piece that tied it all together was the commitment to continuous learning, combined with the humility to know, I don't know everything. I used to think a dangerous mind had to be confident to the point of arrogance, but that only made me brittle. Once I embraced the fact that there will always be unknowns, and that real power is in being adaptable and open-minded, my thinking became much more dynamic and robust. The result is a mindset where doubt isn't weakness but a tool to dig deeper and innovate. To start this today, pick a topic you think you understand well but don't know everything about. Then spend 15 minutes researching opposing perspectives with an open mind. This simple practice expands your mental toolkit and makes your thinking less predictable and more dangerous. So here's the truth. Building a mind so dangerous it makes people nervous isn't about intimidation or forcing power. It's about building a fortress of patience, independence, unpredictability, resilience, and humility. It's about controlling your internal world so completely that no external force can easily shake or define you. The transformation I lived was from a reactive, people-pleasing know-it-all to a calm, confident strategist who others can't quite read or push around. Choose what resonates most with you. Start with the pause, the know, the mystery, the reflection, or the open-mindedness. But start today. What's one moment in your day where you can practice making your mind just a little more unshakable? Share it below. I want to hear your story. And if you found this helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe.